This Write Bite is going to help you solve your his or her problem. I'll show you what I mean. Here's my sentence. In choosing internships, one should follow blank passions. I want to know what pronoun you would fill in there. Would you say his? If so, it turns out you're grammatically correct. In English, if we don't know the gender of the subject, we're allowed to use masculine pronouns, his, he, and him. But very few people do this in writing anymore, so your writing will sound archaic if you use his. It's almost as if you're in the 19th century and, oh yes, we don't bother with women, it's not as if they go to school anyway, right? So, grammatically correct, but not my first choice. You may have seen that his was exclusionary, and so you may have instead opted for his or her. Now, this is also grammatically correct, as long as you've used the or and not a slash. But his or her is bulky. It's going to interrupt the flow of your writing, especially in sentences where you have to refer back to the subject with multiple pronouns and you end up with his or her, he or she, him or her. So while it's grammatically correct, it's stylistically undesirable. Maybe you said, hey, I know a word that's gender neutral and will help me from having to face this his or her problem. And maybe you chose there. You're right, you solved the gender problem, but you've got a different problem. There is plural, and one is about the most singular word there is, so these two don't match. Here's what you can do. Keep using there and take out one. Besides not matching there, one is a pretty vague and useless word. What do you mean? One camel? One astronaut? I want to find a noun that actually goes in this sentence. So let's see, I'm talking about internships. People who are likely to choose internships, that sounds like students, right? I'm going to use the plural noun students. And then I'm going to fill in there. And I've got, in choosing internships, students should follow their passions. Now I've got a grammatically correct sentence. I've got the match in number, and I also have a more informative sentence. When you're making general statements, think about the group that best fits the statement, whether it's students, visitors, researchers, tourists, musicians, soccer players. And if all else fails, you can always use people. People is a plural noun, and so it can always pair with their. Ooh, and it rhymes, so you know it's true. If you found this Write Bite helpful, please share it. And if you want more information on writing tips and writing classes, visit Whole Education online at wholeed.com.